We're going to do this for tire repair, and we could do a single piece if it's a nice straight puncture, you know, coming from this way. If it's less than about 25-degree angle, we could do a one piece. Or if it's going to be steeper than that, or if you just want to, you could do this two piece. This is the plug, and this would be the patch. So it's a plug and patch assembly, which is approved. So first, we're going to make sure that this hole is eligible to be patched, and so we're going to go ahead. We pulled the nail already. We're going to use this. We're going to poke our way through, and if you look on this side, it needs to be roughly under 1/4 of an inch to be repaired, and so you can see that's in the range. So if I pull this back out, it needs to be right in here. It can't go past the red, which is right there. It needs to be somewhere around this area. So it's a good diameter hole, so we are going to be able to patch it. So first step, we're going to use our pre-buff cleaner, and we're going to scrape it. And so right in our hole area, you may want to mark it, but we can see pretty easily where the repair is going to be. And we're going to scrape off the liner, really the silicone specifically that's in the liner. We'll go ahead and strip it. And you can see, you know, a lot of junk comes off there. And so, from there, our next step is going to be, we could do that. I need to ream it right now.
Yes, you can ream it at that point, yes. Go ahead.
We've got this special die grinder that'll accept a specific reamer, which is right here. So I'm going to load that in. It's a carbide cutter. You can do it by hand, but it's a lot more work. So this helps. So first, I'll find the hole. I'm going to ream in 3 times. And then from the inside, same thing. And then we're good, and we keep the RPMs down as slow as possible, below 1200.
Vacuum.
That one's gonna. Okay.
Okay.
Need to vacuum.
Then next, hey Dennis, can we vacuum real quick? Now we're best buds. Can I have the bag?
Don't take it off. We're getting ready to do that next.
Yeah, I won't. Okay, so we need to clean this rubber debris out of here. Okay, and we're good.
Then vulcanize your reamer.
Okay. So the next step, we're going to use this reamer, and we've got a brand new brush that hasn't been contaminated. What we're going to do is use this specific vulcanizing cement, and we're just going to paint a little bit on the reamer here. I'm going to take that and go ahead and install it in that hole, and just kind of let it hang there for just a moment. And while that's starting to dry, we're going to start getting ready to buff. So we're going to remove our reamer and install our specific rubber buffer. And then from there, we'll go ahead and we'll get our plug ready while that's drying. So again, we've got our brush. This brush hasn't touched rubber yet, so it's not contaminated.
You're going to have to go ahead and buff and scrape once you get that.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to brush this plug. And now this has touched rubber, so we're no longer going to use it. So we're going to put it in our hazardous waste area. And at this point, we've started the vulcanizing process, so I'm going to remove. And I'm going to go ahead and install this plug in our hole without touching anything. And go ahead, I'm going to pull it through until it's a tight fit, about halfway in the fatter part of the plug. Yep. And so now that's cut, now that's in there. Now this is a special knife, so what I'm going to do is hold the end of it. I'm just going to kind of fillet cut this off of here, nice and flat. And we're going to buff that a little flatter. So we had previously got the buffer ready, and now we're going to go ahead and buff it out. And it needs to be just a little bit larger than our patch, and so our patch will be similar to that size. So we're going to go ahead, I'll start at the top. Yeah, different tools. And so now we can take a closer look, make sure we didn't miss any of the spots. In fact, I see a couple little high spots, and so I'm going to go back at that, making sure I'm very thorough.
Your tool's not even smooth.
Yeah. And so now it's looking a lot better. And so my next step, trade that buffer out for a copper style brush. I'm going to go ahead and brush the junk out of there. But I'm not going to put my hands or touch this prepped area. No more chemicals can touch this. So after that, back after the vacuum to clean out our debris. Note that the vacuum never touched the repair area. Now our next step is going to be using this brush that again is going to be fresh and uncontaminated, a new brush. We're going to get some vulcanizing cement, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to start to get this cement soaking in our whole area evenly, and have it not puddle and just be consistent. And this surface is a RMA #1 velvety finish is what we were going for. I'm just going to do just a little bit more. And at this point we need to let this actually dry. So we can let it dry, but to kind of help it a little bit, we're going to get a little bit of warmth in there.
Show them how you prep the patch.
Now this patch, we can't touch the adhesive part. So the way that I would recommend is peel it, start to get this edge exposed, pull this edge without touching the rubber. So the rubber's not been touched. Pull half, get rid of it. Next half, I recommend pulling it down into like a quarter of it. And so it gets a little tricky at this point, but you can catch it without touching it with your thumb. And you can't have any fingerprints on there, so you got to be careful. It's a little bit tricky. And so I'm going to leave this little corner right here for my thumb to work. And so I'm going to come back and check and make sure it's dry enough. All right, and so we're going to go right for the center of our repair, and that's going to be right about there. So I'll make sure that my blue is ready to be pulled. Go right in the middle and make sure I get that blue out of there without touching any of the rubber. Do just a little rough poke. And our next step, we need to use this stitcher. So I'm going to go top to bottom, and you'll notice we're going from the inside to the out. We're kind of pushing the rubber, pushing the air out from underneath the rubber. Do the same thing again, go in the other direction. And now we'll flip it 90 degrees. Do the same. Again from the inside out. Be nice and thorough with that. Now the next step is we're gonna have to get that plastic cover off. So this can be a little bit tricky at times. You gotta kind of catch it, just catch an edge of it and pull it. And it's tough to not pull a corner of the patch. We're gonna get there. Let's try a new spot here. Just gonna catch an edge. Okay, pull that off. Next step, just in the case that it might have pulled a corner a little bit, we'll re-stitch it. Now at this point, all the air is out, but we need to repair this liner that we had scraped off. And so we're gonna go ahead and use this inner liner liquid. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna basically paint on the whole area that was stripped. And that's complete for the inner part of our patch. Except on the outside, we've still got our plug to deal with. And so, keep it simple here. Go ahead, clip the edge. That's going to wear down as we go. And that's your complete tire repair. Stop button.